13 feet. That is the exact same dimension as the money pit.
I believe in Zena Halpern's work. I believe that the map represents some features on the island. Possible that this might be the hatch. There are a lot of possibilities on this.
What if I told you that the most mysterious treasure ever connected to the Knights Templar may have just been uncovered? For centuries, the Knights Templar have been wrapped in secrecy. Hidden vaults, lost relics, coded maps, and a vast fortune that disappeared without a trace in the 1300s. Many have tried to find it. Most have failed. But now, Rick Lagina believes this latest discovery could change everything. Buried beneath layers of earth, timber, and stone on an island steeped in legend and curses, something remarkable has come to light. A discovery that's sending shockwaves through the treasure-hunting world. Could this finally be proof that the Templars reached North America? Did they hide something here long before Columbus ever set sail? And most importantly, have we just uncovered the most mysterious Knights Templar treasure of all? In today's video, we're breaking down the evidence, the clues hidden in plain sight, and the discovery Rick Lagina calls the most significant yet. Stay with us and subscribe, because what you're about to hear might just rewrite history. The Garden Shaft's Golden Secret. The story of the Garden Shaft didn't begin with excitement, but with respect. When the team first rediscovered the 82-foot deep shaft, it seemed like just another hole left behind by earlier searchers. In tribute to the women connected to the 228-year-long treasure hunt, Rick Lagina and his trusted partner Billy Gerhardt built a beautiful rock garden around it. For a while, it was simply a quiet memorial on a mysterious island. But on Oak Island, quiet never lasts. The first sign that the official story might be wrong came from geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner. Water samples taken from boreholes near the shaft revealed something shocking. Traces of gold. And not just tiny amounts. These were significant readings. In fact, it was one of the strongest precious metal hits outside of the original money pit area. Suddenly, the overlooked garden shaft became the team's top priority. Rick, his brother Marty, and their partner Craig Tester made a bold and expensive decision. They hired Dumas Contracting, a professional mining company, to completely rebuild and secure the shaft so it could be explored safely. It was a multi-million-dollar gamble based on instinct and evidence. As miners descended into the shaft, wood from its original structure was sent out for testing. The results were astonishing. Archaeometallurgist Emma Culligan analyzed a timber taken from about 50 feet down and detected gold embedded directly in the wood itself. That meant a substantial amount of gold had once passed through this shaft. But the biggest surprise was still to come. Carbon dating revealed that the shaft's construction dated back to before 1795, the year the money pit was first discovered. This wasn't a shaft dug by treasure hunters. It appeared to be part of the original depositor's work, possibly even connected to a separate hidden vault. The tension was undeniable. Once the shaft was secured, metal detection expert Gary Drayton was lowered to the bottom. At 82 feet below the surface, his detector didn't just beep, it roared. He identified a powerful non-ferrous signal, likely gold or silver, buried just a few feet below. It seemed like they were closing in on the treasure. But just as they prepared for the final push, another discovery elsewhere on the island shifted the focus and introduced an even stranger connection to the original money pit. The mystery of Lot 5. While the garden shaft was producing golden clues, attention turned to Lot 5, a curious piece of land on the island's western side. This property had once belonged to treasure hunter Robert Young, who believed it held unique secrets of its own. When the Laginas purchased the lot, they did so to honor his legacy and continue his mission. Almost immediately, remarkable artifacts began to surface, including a 2,000-year-old Roman coin, a strange lead token possibly linked to the Knights Templar, and the stone foundations of an ancient structure. But the most puzzling feature was a circular stone depression, unlike anything they had seen before. At first glance, it looked like the remains of an old barn foundation, roughly built and filled with soil. But as archaeologist Laird Niven and the team cleared it out, they realized something extraordinary. It was nearly perfectly round. This was no accident. It had been deliberately constructed. Rick, driven by curiosity, suggested measuring it to see if its dimensions meant anything. What they discovered stunned the entire team. The circular stone structure measured exactly 13 feet wide, the exact same diameter described for the original money pit in 1795. A 13-foot wide circular depression lined with stone. The resemblance was uncanny. So what had they found? A decoy money pit? A test shaft? Or something entirely different? Perhaps even the hatch referenced in Xena Halpern's mysterious Templar map. Xena believed her map dated back to the 14th century and marked a hatch near Lot 5. The team had searched for it for years. Now, they were standing inside a structure that might match that very description. The discovery was so unusual that it defied easy explanation. Pottery found inside dated back to the mid-17th century, proving the structure existed before the height of the treasure hunt. Yet deeper excavation revealed multiple layers of construction, suggesting it had been rebuilt or reused over centuries. It was an incredible find. But an even older structure elsewhere on the island was about to push the timeline back further than anyone thought possible. The well that could change history. For years, a rough, odd-looking well on Lot 26 was little more than a curiosity. Located less than 100 feet from a mysterious stone wall believed to date to the 1600s, the well had one strange feature that constantly bothered Rick Lagina. It never froze during winter. That small detail suggested something unusual was happening underground. A flowing water source? A hidden connection? An engineered system? On Oak Island, even the smallest anomaly can lead to something extraordinary. And this well might be one of the biggest clues yet. This lingering mystery led Rick to ask Dr. Ian Spooner to conduct a full scientific analysis of the well's water. Once again, the results were astonishing. The water from this simple-looking well contained one of the only traces of silver ever found on Oak Island outside the money pit area. The connection was impossible to ignore. Something valuable had once been in, or very near, this well. Encouraged by the new evidence, the team began a complete excavation. What they uncovered was a well much larger and far more carefully constructed than anyone had expected. But as always on Oak Island, the real secret was waiting at the bottom. Dr. Spooner collected core samples from the deepest layer of the well, pulling up organic material, small twigs and debris that had been trapped in the sediment for centuries. When the carbon dating results came back, they didn't just surprise the team. They rewrote the timeline entirely. The material at the base of the well dated to between 1128 and 1172 AD. Think about that for a moment. This wasn't just before 1795. It wasn't just before the height of European exploration. It was before Columbus. It was during the Viking Age. It was centuries earlier than historians believed the Knights Templar could have arrived on Oak Island. The discovery left everyone stunned. Why would a European-style well exist on Oak Island nearly 1,000 years ago? It challenged every major theory. Suddenly, the well on Lot 26, the circular stone depression on Lot 5, and the garden shaft near the money pit no longer seemed like isolated mysteries. Instead, they appeared to be pieces of one enormous ancient puzzle. These weren't random structures. They may have been evidence of a large-scale operation on Oak Island that began nearly 1,000 years ago. The Knights Templar theory. Among all the theories, one stands above the rest in popularity, the Knights Templar theory. This fan-favorite idea, heavily featured on The Curse of Oak Island, suggests that the powerful Christian military order, dissolved and persecuted in the early 1300s, used Oak Island as a secret refuge to hide their vast treasure. According to believers, that treasure may have included some of Christianity's most sacred relics, such as the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant, along with countless chests of gold and silver. Supporters point to several intriguing discoveries on the island. The mysterious stone cross at Smith's Cove, the so-called Templar map from Xena Halpern that allegedly shows an underground vault, and the advanced engineering seen in the flood tunnels and money pit. They argue that only a highly organized and technologically advanced group like the Templars could have built such a complex system. Critics, however, remain unconvinced. They argue that the connections are speculative at best, more the result of hopeful interpretation than hard evidence. The Captain Kidd theory. Another long-standing and dramatic theory centers on the infamous pirate Captain William Kidd. This idea dates back to the late 1700s, when Daniel McGinnis first discovered the Money Pit. According to legend, Kidd, who was executed for piracy in 1701, buried his massive treasure on Oak Island, designing an elaborate system of traps to protect it. This classic pirate treasure story was what first drew waves of treasure hunters to the island. Modern historians generally dismiss the theory, noting that Kidd's documented treasure was likely far less impressive than legend suggests. Still, the story has fueled imaginations for more than 2 centuries. It is also deeply connected to the island's infamous curse, the belief that 7 men must die before the treasure is found. So far, 6 men have lost their lives searching. That chilling fact adds a supernatural layer to the mystery and makes every new discovery feel even more intense. The Bacon-Shakespeare theory. Less popular today, but once widely discussed, is the Bacon-Shakespeare authorship theory. This theory claims that Sir Francis Bacon, philosopher, statesman, and alleged member of secret societies like the Rosicrucians or Freemasons, was the true author of Shakespeare's plays. According to this idea, Bacon hid original manuscripts and important documents on Oak Island to protect them from political enemies. Supporters, including, historically, figures like Franklin D. Roosevelt, believed the island's treasure might not be gold or jewels at all, but a literary revelation that could change history. They often reference the mysterious 1701 stone tablet reportedly found in the Money Pit, said to contain a cipher describing buried treasure worth £2 million. Although the stone itself has vanished, the theory remains one of the most unusual chapters in Oak Island's story. The hoax and natural formation theory. For every bold theory, there is an equally strong counter-argument. Some skeptics question whether the Money Pit ever truly existed as described. They argue it may simply be a natural sinkhole, or perhaps abandoned wells from an early fishing or whaling operation. According to this view, many supposed artifacts are just debris left behind by early settlers, and the famous flood tunnels could be natural water channels that were misinterpreted. Skeptics also point out that several key pieces of evidence, including the carved stone tablet with the cryptic message, have disappeared over time. Some critics suggest these artifacts may have been exaggerated or even fabricated to attract financial backing. The strongest push for the hoax theory came in the 1940s, when a second money pit was discovered. It was described as a sinkhole lined with logs placed at regular intervals, but the investigation was later abandoned, fueling suspicions that the legend had taken on a life of its own. Modern controversy. The debate continues today. Critics of The Curse of Oak Island argue that the series sometimes dramatizes minor discoveries to maintain suspense. They point to a pattern of promising clues that ultimately lead nowhere, suggesting the focus is often on storytelling rather than resolution. Some historians and archaeologists have also expressed concern about the environmental impact of large-scale excavation. They warn that digging could damage valuable archaeological evidence that might reveal a more practical explanation for the island's past, perhaps as a colonial military outpost or a shipbuilding site. Discoveries such as pine tar kilns in the swamp area support this more grounded interpretation, suggesting industrial activity rather than hidden treasure chambers. The scandals, debates, and competing theories are as much a part of Oak Island as the treasure hunt itself. They are the whispers that bring seekers back year after year. They are the reason the mystery refuses to die. And perhaps in the end, the greatest treasure of Oak Island isn't just what might be buried beneath it, but the legend that continues to captivate the world. They represent something deeper than treasure. They reflect humanity's enduring desire to believe in the impossible, to chase mysteries, to follow shadows, and to uncover a truth that could completely change the way we see history. The Laginas may have uncovered ancient structures, but it's the lingering debates, unanswered questions, and decades of controversy that truly keep Oak Island alive. These discoveries suggest that the island's mystery is far older and far more complex than anyone ever imagined. So the real question remains: what ancient civilization had the knowledge, resources, and determination to build something like this nearly 1,000 years ago? If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, be sure to subscribe to the Timefold channel, and don't forget to like the video.